In bargaining, we've repeatedly told the companies from day one, September 14th is a deadline, not a reference point. We will not allow the Big Three to continue dragging out negotiations for months. The companies know what our priorities are, and we've been very clear. The Big Three can afford to immediately give us our fair share. If they choose not to, then they're choosing to strike themselves, and we are not afraid to take action. All three companies at this point have agreed to cut our progression to the top rate in half. The Big Three are now proposing a 4-year progression, down from the current 8 years. All three companies have rejected our pension and retiree health care proposals. In our members' demands, we propose significant double-digit pay raises of 40% to match the salary increases of the Big Three CEOs. We did that to catch up with this brutal inflation and to make up for decades of falling real wages in this industry. Ford is now proposing a 20% raise over 4.5 years. That's up from their initial 9% offer. GM is now proposing an 18% raise over that period. That's up from their initial 10%. And Stellantis is proposing 17.5% over 4 years. We're making progress at each of the three negotiating tables, but as you just heard, we're still very far apart on our key priorities. From job security to ending tiers, from cost of living allowance to wage increases, we do not yet have offers on the table that reflect the sacrifice and contributions our members have made to these companies. To win, we're likely going to have to take action. And just as we have approached our negotiations differently than we have in the past, we are preparing to strike these companies in a way they've never seen before. Like I said, we're going to be doing things differently this time around. First of all, for the first time in our history, we may strike all three of the Big Three at once. Our message to the companies was clear. If we don't have a fair contract by midnight on Thursday night, we will strike. It's really important that we're clear on this point. We will not strike all of our facilities at once. We will strike all three companies, a historic first, initially at a limited number of targeted locations that we will be announcing. Then, based on what's happening in bargaining, we're going to announce more locals that are going to be called to stand up and strike. These locals will join those that are already on strike so that our strike at each company will continue to grow over time. And again, I want to be clear. Our goal is not to strike. Our goal is to reach a fair agreement. So the plan now is that this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be hosting a Facebook Live and announcing which locals are being called on to stand up and go out on strike starting at midnight if we don't have a deal. As soon as those locals are named, all locals will be notified about whether they are to stand up and strike or to maintain strike readiness through rallies, supporting active picket lines, red shirt days, and organizing our communities. We are keeping all of our options open as we continue to bargain with the companies. And I want to be clear about this. An all-out strike is still a possibility. We're keeping all of our options open. In the event we go on strike at midnight on Thursday night, something else we're going to do differently. We will not be bargaining on the 15th.